Hello, what's up guys, welcome back to my channel, and for today's video I'll be talking about Skylords Reborn, and I'll be listing 10 consistently really good versatile PvE cards that you will find. How I define if these cards are versatile is, of course, number one, the card should not have any more than one requirement of the colored orbs. So if maybe the card requires at least 2 nature orbs to use the card itself would be less versatile because it has more restrictions on what kind of orb is required in order to summon or use the card. The second point on how the cards will be versatile is based on people would use a specific card more rather than the others, and also from my personal experience of me also using a lot of these cards that I will be talking about. And of course, lastly, how usable is this card if it is being placed in other kind of decks, maybe a mixed shadow or a mixed fire deck. Would this card will still be useful throughout the game, or would this card be only useful in the early stages of the game, maybe in tier 1 or tier 2? So I have 10 cards and a couple of notable mentions which I would say at the end of the video. And if you like my video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like my video. This will help improve my algorithm, and hopefully we'll get more players to take a look at this awesome game called the Skylords Reborn. And of course, without further ado, let's take a look at the 10th card that I think it's a really versatile card. And in 10th place we got mine, a fire tier 1 card. And why I think this is a really good card is that all fire players would use this card. As long as you play a fire start, the mine will be inside your deck. There will be no doubt about it. 95% or 99% sure that the mine is very usable in tier 1. So the reason why it's in 10th place is that because mainly mine is only quite usable in the early stages of the game, maybe tier 1 to tier 2, but in tier 3 you probably have better options to play which other cards which does more damage. So that's it for mine. And next up, in the 9th place we got Equilibrium and the Nature Affinity. And the reason why Equilibrium is very useful is because it heals your units and it's a tier 3 card. So most probably if you have a mixed deck, by tier 3 you might have a Nature Orb already. So Equilibrium is probably one of the stronger healing cards that you have. And I think overall for a tier 3 card, I think Equilibrium has the best healing capacity. I'm not really sure if blood healing has it better, but the downside of blood healing is that it damages your unit. Basically it sucks out life points from your own unit to help heal your surrounding unit. So Equilibrium on the other hand is really good, especially the Nature Affinity, where the more health points is within your casting area, your units should be healed an even larger amount. So that's why I would say that Equilibrium is on the 9th place, and specifically for Nature Affinity. Right at the 8th place we got Time Vortex, the Blue Affinity, because the Blue Affinity is always better as you really want to get your Void Power down lower. And when your Void Power is lower, the Time Vortex Blue Affinity will be able to attack quicker. So Time Vortex is one of the strongest tier 2 towers that you can have. And for myself, I use, as long as I have a Shadow Orb, I would have to include Time Vortex in my deck to help defend bases, or even like push to attack bases by luring like enemy units down to my Time Vortex. So it really clears enemy units really quickly. Next up on 7th place we got Wind Reverse. And why I say Wind Reverse is like an essential is because similar to mine Fortify deck, Wind Reverse is essential for a nature tier 1 start. I think Wind Reverse have the best health and attack ratio for a nature card, even though it's slightly more expensive, but it's very durable compared to Sunstriders, the Master Archers, or even like Forsakens. Each of these archers have their own perks, but for Wind Reverse is the main attacking force for nature, because you just have to summon a lot of these archers, and with his multi-shot ability damages enemy units really quickly, or even buildings, and you would be accompanied with healing spells like the Search of Light, so you don't really need like Shaman or any other melee units to kind of like tank the damage from the Wind Reverse. And next up at 6th place we got Maelstrom, and Maelstrom is a 1 Frost Orb and 3 Neutral Orb Frost card. Really strong spell, a tier 4 strong spell that damages units and freezes them after they are in the area for a period of time. And next up for 5th place we got Cold Snap. Cold Snap is a very useful card up to tier 3, but not only that, the reason why Cold Snap is really a very useful card is because if you are a fire player or a shadow player, you don't really have a lot of like CC spells to help you right up to tier 2. So if you have a mix of playing like Lost Souls, Cold Snap will be a very good card for you to help free some units or even like buy you some time, get your units into position to attack enemy bases. So Cold Snap is very versatile. You can use it not only in the Frost deck, which is why Cold Snap is very helpful. However, the downside for Frozen unit is that they only take 50% damage, so any attack against Frozen enemy units would be reduced, which is why Cold Snap is only at the 5th place. There are better spells, better CC spells that will help you push your PvE game even higher at the 5th position, which is Cold Snap. Next up, after Cold Snap, we got the 4th place, which is the Giant Nymph, and hands down Giant Nymph is really the best card, even though it's just a common card. Why I say so is because it only requires 1 nature orb and it's a flying unit, deals a lot of damage really quick. Yeah, the downside is just that it's quite power intensive, but the damage it deals, flying unit, and playing Giant Nymph means you got a nature orb which you can heal your flying units. Healing spells are all like arcane spells, so you can cast any of these healing spells without ground presence. Comparing Giant Nymph with other factions, it's very hard to see that Giant Nymph is not the best, because for tier 4 fire orb, there's not really a good tier 4 fire unit that only requires 1 fire orb to summon. I think there's like only Boom Brothers or Ember Strike, but they are not as impressive as Giant Nymph. They are just large units, not extra large units. They might not deal as much damage. Of course, for Frost we can see that we got Construct, but for Construct you can only attack ground units and it walks really slow, so you can't really compare that with Giant Nymph. Yeah, and that's it for our 4th place, and let's take a look at our top 3 places. The 3rd place is Surge of Light, of course. For any PvE player, your highest priority is to not let your units die, because units is power, and usually people want to get at least 1 nature orb so that it makes their game easier because they can heal their units. And Surge of Light is one way to go. It's pretty cheap if you are playing a mix of that, because by then you probably have 2 or 3 orbs and quite a number of power wells, so 80 power to spend to heal units instantly is quite a low power cost. That's why Surge of Light is right at the 3rd place. And the 2nd place we got the Curse of Oink, very highly used card. You can see almost every player will have this card in their deck, because it's a very good CC spell, and not only that, it's really cheap to cast it, only at 65 power. So really good CC spell is the Curse of Oink. I think it's one of the best in the game, that you also don't really have to wait. For example, the Creeping Paralysis, you have to wait 5 seconds to cast in order to cast it. And of course, the last at 1st place is Regrowth. Hands down the strongest healing spell in the game, only requiring 1 nature orb, so very versatile. We can use it for almost any deck except for pure Frost, Fire and Shadow, so really helpful to have Regrowth. The only time where I don't really have Regrowth is that my deck doesn't require a nature orb, so that's the only reason why I don't have Regrowth. But if my deck has nature cards in it, Regrowth is definitely inside the one of the 20 cards in the deck. And yeah, this is it for my top 10 really versatile cards that I think is for Skylords Reborn. And yeah, and I have just 2 notable mention cards that didn't make it on the top 10 list because they require two color orbs instead of just 1 color orb. So the first really versatile card is the Shrine of War. Very good card. Though it requires 2 fire orbs now, but if back then it requires only 1 fire orb, it will definitely be right at the top 10 list. So Shrine of War, very useful, really strong void power return card. I think one of the best in the game. And the second notable mention card is Frenetic Assault. Sadly requires 2 shadow orbs or 2 color orbs to play, but it's one of the best CC spells in the game, because usually for CC spells it paralyzes the unit or freezes the unit, or the enemy unit doesn't really do anything. But Frenetic Assault, this takes a step further. The enemy doesn't attack you, but they attack themselves or among themselves. So during this like confusion time, the enemy is taking more damage than just simply you using the Curse of Oink to paralyze them or stop them from moving. So yep, that is the 2 notable mention cards that I think would deserve to go to the top 10, but due to their orb requirement, did not make it for the criteria. So this is it for the video, and let me know right down in the comment section what do you think is a really good versatile card for PvE in Skylords Reborn. And if you do like my video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like my video, and I'll see you guys again real soon.